Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today I'm on the Aviara AV32 OB. Now, the design team at Aviara told me that they made this to be a luxury day boat for friends and family that also has a unique and striking appearance. She's also got excellent handling characteristics, so let's see how they've done as I do a full features inspection and performance evaluation. I want to start on the bow because this is usually the place that gets the least amount of attention, but with Aviara, it's just loaded with features, so let's start talking about it. Wraparound seating, there's a removable cushion over to the starboard side so we can be in a seated position with our feet down on the deck if we want, or in a lounging position. The choice is yours. Wraparound bolsters, but more importantly, look at the height of this. I mean, come on, 39 inches. How's that for a safety factor? There are sockets so we can put stanchions in and support a Mediterranean sunshade. We've got beverage holders to both sides, charging ports, speakers, grab handles, and notice that the grab handles are all a satin finish that are color matched to the 8.5-inch cleats. One thing I can't help notice is the fit and finish in this bow area. Solid surface counters, the upholstery. There's also an option for putting a table here and a filler cushion to turn this all into a sun pad. Look at the storage solutions, forward, aft, in the deck, and there's an insulated cooler to the port side that is self-draining overboard. Notice the hatch is finished on the underside. Gas support strut, remote control for the windlass. Look at this, there's even a dedicated spot for the wrench. Everyone else just puts a little clip in there and calls it a day. This is a Lumar windlass, chain, swivel, plow style anchor leading to a through the stem anchor roller. There's a cleat to the side that we can use to secure the whole thing in place. Easy access to the road locker. The washdown is just to the right hand side. And notice that this is all a recessed compartment, so it's convenient that there's a drain in the corner. And here's something I noticed, every compartment has a courtesy light. Now let's talk about color choices. Right now we've got blue with gray interior. We can get a color match to a contrasting color or a matching color. Plus we can also have up to 5 interior colors on the upholstery, and they're cool touch. So that means we can also have navy blue and black. Right now we're in a hot South Florida sunny day. It's at least 90 degrees out right now, sun beaming directly on this, and it's still cool to the touch. So navy and black make sense now. Now as I make our way back, the walkthrough to the cockpit, 22 inches, and notice that there's also an air dam so we can close the area off. Keep it comfortable on those chilly mornings. We also have a walk-through windshield that we can close off. A lot to talk about in this cockpit area. Grab handle, 31 inches between these two seats, so even if a person is here, you still have room to walk through. Wraparound seating, nice padded bolsters. There's storage underneath all of the seats, and notice that they're hinged and support struts. There's our first carry-on cooler right there. More storage under these seats. To the starboard side, more solid surface counter, hinged hatch. There's a sink with a partition separating bottle storage. That's a classy feature. Underneath here, solid hatch. I mean, this is heavy. No support strut because there's just no room for it, but it has tension hinges, so it stays in position. And we've got a small bin here we can fill with ice. It's self-draining overboard. Beverage holders, refrigerated drawer with freezer and a removable shelf. And then to the side, trash receptacle. And to the forward end, our second carry-on cooler. Now again, with the upscale fit and finish of this boat, it's a luxury day boat. Look at this padded bolster here. Makes a nice, comfortable spot to lean against while you're looking forward, sort of an observer station. And underneath, there's also another trash receptacle. But I have to say the real shining star of the fit and finish has to be these seats. All I had to do was just sit in it once to realize there's an additional level of comfort going on here. Padded bolsters are a little bit higher and nicely padded. Plus, look at this curved lumbar support, and I don't know if you can see it, but the seats are angled a little bit back so that you sit into the seats. Your legs are elevated, extra padding in the front. It's just an elevated level of comfort that you really have to experience. And like I say, it took me just dropping in it once to realize that that was the case. Now look to the bulwarks here. Not only do we have beverage holders, curved grab rails, speakers, but we also have inductive cell phone holders. We also have an optional table. It's teak, and notice the tongue and groove construction. And all of the solid surface that we've pointed out where the beverage holders are and in the corners, that can also be teak as well. Now, all this is under the protection of this hardtop, and it's not just an average hardtop. First of all, 7 feet 4 inches off the deck. There are speakers to both sides, courtesy lights of course, and at the trailing edge, a make-fast sunshade. Now if you combine this shade with the optional Mediterranean sunshade, you can have the entire length of the boat from bow to stern under shade. And this hardtop, not just an average hardtop, it's completely aluminum framed inside, so notice I don't need to have the forward supports that are going to be in the way of my line of vision. Now if you didn't think we had enough storage before, take a look at this. Across the transom we've got our power steering pumps. There's our blue battery charger. 4 batteries, that'd be 2 engine start and 2 house batteries, and a boatload of storage in here. I have to admire the neat wire runs and how well supported they all are. And notice how all the beverage holders are drained and channeled into the bilge. And of course we can give it a nice finished look with the canvas. Now as we make our way to the stern, the walk-through has a gate to protect it, and open it goes flush against the bulwark, so we maintain a full 20-inch walk-through. There's a hatch in the center that makes for convenient fender storage, brilliant use of space right there, and even a spot to hold the fender clips. Close this off, and now take a look at this stern. We've got lounge seats, 3 across. There are seat backs that lift and ratchet into position, and notice when they're up I can walk behind them. Now why would I want to do that? Because there are bar stools, 3 across. Now personally I really like this feature because if you picture the kids swimming off the stern, you've got 3 people here watching and then 3 people in the stools watching, 6 people all aft facing, enjoying the company of everyone. Underneath these seats there's storage, a large storage bin to one side, smaller to the other. They're all self-draining, and now I'm just noticing that these drains are the ones that I was pointing out in the large storage compartment that would be an engine compartment. I said they were beverage holders. It's the drains for these compartments. There's a freshwater shower, a freshwater fill, RTM molded hatches, gas assist struts, battery switches, plus the main breakers. And I also noticed that there are courtesy lights in here like there are in all of the storage compartments on this boat. This compartment also has a 12-volt accessory plug for inflating your water toys and a plug for your battery charger. A couple of additional things to point out in this area. Courtesy light switch, so if you're coming aboard at night you can light the whole boat up before you get aboard. And notice this seat, the part that lifts up, it's backed by a material called COOSA. It's much stronger than the King Starboard that we usually see. To the stern, there are 30-inch wide platforms to both sides of the engines. The one to starboard has a 4-step reboarding ladder, and notice that even with the engines in the tilted position, there's still 12 inches to walk across from one side to the other. Now let's take a look at the head compartment. The door opens and is held open by a magnetic catch. Nice feature there. There's a lot going on in here and a lot to like. First of all, 5 feet 9 inches of headroom, which gives us 4 feet 3 inches of sitting headroom. And room is the operative choice of words here. I mean, it's a changing room as well as an operable head. Solid surface counter, sink, storage underneath, and 2 storage compartments to the side. And really interesting to note that these are all finished off with wood on the inside. Now, on the back of the door, there's a shelf and a mirror. And one important thing to note about the construction of this boat is I'm sitting at this top step here, which is effectively the top of the grid stringer system. So it's this deep and substantial. It's also a 4x4, 4 lateral, 4 longitudinal, and is bonded to the hull with MMA, not Bondo. And that also makes it possible for this entire deck to be single level from bow to stern. Now let's take a look at the helm. Obviously, Aviara has embraced the glass dash concept. 10.5-inch screen, 12-inch screen, 7-inch screen, and what are they all used for? Well, this one is going to be for the boat's functions. We've got all of the switching, the sound system, the lighting, and bilge pumps, and then our settings. This is a Simrad display, GPS multifunction display, and then over here, this is going to be for our engine display. Now, even though we control all of the switching from this screen here, we still have dedicated switches over on the right for more important features like your horn, bilge pumps, things like that. The steering wheel, billet aluminum, Italian hand stitched, and it's all on a tilt base. Engine start stops just to the right. The digital engine controls over on the right hand side, and I like the positioning of them on a flat surface. Just ahead, we've got the Lemco trim tabs and another inductive charger for your phone. And in an even more convenient location is the JPO joystick just behind the digital engine controls, so that you can be turning backwards as you're backing into a slip and controlling the boat. Further back, there's a cubby with connectivity, and it's self-draining. And notice it's even finished on the underside of the lid with the Aviara logo. Cup holder just behind, and two more underneath. At 44 inches, the helm seat is clearly a double wide, 2 bolsters in a 60/40 configuration. Now, I want to talk about this panel a little bit more because a lot of thought went into it with Aviara. First of all, across the top of this screen, there's a data bar that's got what I think is the most important feature, the depth. The control switches are at the bottom. First one gives us windlass, sunshade, the blower, engine compartment lift, wiper, cup holders, things like that. We also have the master volume for the stereo. I'll get more into that in just a moment. Lighting, we can control all of the lighting on the boat. And notice, not only can we control turning it on and off, but we can go through the color scheme. Or we can just make them all white. Bilge pumps are all controllable. And then the stereo, we can control everything through this or through Bluetooth, and we can connect to this through Bluetooth as well. Now, this is a Klipsch audio system, and the engineering team from Klipsch was here to get a report on the boat and make a blanket of sound throughout the whole boat. But this system has 2 8.5-inch speakers just forward of the helm, 2 of the 8 on board, and there's an 11-inch subwoofer as well. Now, speaking of operational features, here's a nice touch. Midship cleat is right behind the windshield, so when you're coming in and docking the boat, all you got to do is just reach out, grab a line, put it on the cleat, and then you're secured to the dock. Now, one other thing I want to point out, notice these fuel fills. They're underneath hatches, for one thing, plus there's one on each side going into a single tank, so you don't have to worry about dragging a fuel hose across the boat or which side you're going to dock the boat on. I like it because not only can we open one, we can open the other, and while we're filling, we're venting out the other one so we can fill so much faster. Engine choices, always going to be Mercury. Joystick is always standard. You can go with 300, 350, or 400 horsepower, and the big thing about Aviara is they don't believe that base horsepower means substandard performance, so we're going to be testing this boat with the base 300 engines. The Aviara AV32 OB has a length overall of 34 feet 4 inches, a beam of 10 feet 4 inches, and a draft of 3 feet 1 inch when fully loaded. With an empty weight of 12,200 pounds, 70% fuel, and 3 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 13,555 pounds. With the twin 300 horsepower Mercury Verados turning 14.6 by 24 bladed props and run up to 5940 RPM, our test boat topped out at 50.4 miles per hour. Best cruise came in at 4,000 RPM and 32.8 miles per hour. It was at that speed that the 21.1 gallon per hour fuel burn translated into 1.6 miles per gallon and a range of 250 statute miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 179 gallon total fuel capacity. In acceleration tests, we reached planing speed at an average 5.6 seconds, and she'll hold plane on down to 13.4 miles per hour. With the throttles pinned, we continued to 20 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds, past 30 in 11.6, and 40 came and went in 17.9. So the AV32 is an extremely comfortable boat to drive. She's heavy, so she's got a solid feel to her handling characteristics. Cutting through wakes, I mean, we're on the Intracoastal Waterway here, so no real seas to contend with, but cutting through wakes, no pounding, no hull slap, she just sliced right on through, which was a comfortable feeling. Secondly, if you put her into turns, She does grip onto the turn. She wants to hang on to the water, not a lot of slide. So if you put it into a power turn, probably going to be uncomfortable, but nobody really does that unless you're a test captain. And in a situation like that, she will bleed off a lot of speed because A, she's grabbing onto the turn, and B, she tends to dip her shoulder into the turn a little bit, so that causes a bit of drag. So feel free to add power into the turn as you're coming around, and then once you come out of the turn, you can bring that power back as she gets back up on plane and gets her speed back again. But that's about it. Trim, not a lot to worry about at all. Bring the power up, and then a couple of clicks on the trim is all you need. If you go any more than that, you're bringing the bow up too much, and then you start losing speed. Go below that, and you're plowing a little bit, and you lose speed again. So just a couple of clicks is where she has her sweet spot, right through the on-plane RPM range. This is far and away Aviara's best-selling model, and from what I've seen, with good reason. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation of the AV32 OB from Aviara. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.